Welcome to Sharper Square, presented by Hard Rock Bet. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. This is the betting show that makes the squares sharper and makes the wise guys pay attention. I am Chad Millman. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, what a week, brother.
Dude, crazy week. We're feeling good, but like any professional outfit, you know what we do? We look past and we move forward. We get ready. We don't rest in our laurels. This is our Thursday week 2 episode. Going to narrow down the options on our quest to agree together as a team on our 5 favorite picks for the week. Reminder, subscribe to Sharp or Square on YouTube, Apple Pods, Spotify, wherever you get your pods. Let's get into it, brother. First, got to check in. Wiseguy Hotline.
Wiseguy Hotline.
What are you waiting for? Did I startle you?
The way you are. Let's start with the games they disagree on, Chad. Let's get those out of the way. Last week, I feel like we got a little lucky, right? We were on the right side of a lot of the disagreements, and that's how it is, right? The pro line, the dog, is not always the right side. And me, Chad, we have that hard lesson ourselves. We really love these dogs. We have to remember chalk does win. It's lining up to be another back and forth week this week. And so let's start with that Dallas game. I mean, I got a ton of calls, just guys loving that Giants team even more. I saw Bland got banged up, right? He's missing this game. It's a big deal, especially when you're going against guys like Neighbors. But it's my whole point. It's Russell Wilson behind a bad offensive line. So I think maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that one. But yeah, pretty shocking all the calls I got about just more Giants love. I was like, you didn't get burned last week, and they're like, they make excuses, reasons why it didn't work out. And that's just how it is, right? When you're playing this number. So I got some good trends that back up the Cowboys in that spot.
I'm excited to dig into this game. This Giants team feels like the wise guy version of the Panthers last year. And I don't get it. And so I'm excited for us to hear your trends and dig in a little bit. And I'm excited that we're not getting suckered in by the Giants.
Agree. And this is one of those, like Chad's saying, it's we'll talk more about it. But this Chiefs game, tons of calls about our like, maybe it's more of me, my love for the Eagles, the spot. And I'm excited to break that one down with you, because it's making me hold even more firm in my position.
Wow.
What side I'm on. So, that Eagles-Chiefs game, that is going to be pros versus shows. Public is going to be heavy on the Eagles side. And basically any professional I've talked to, for the most part, is on the Chiefs side. And I've heard their reasoning. I'm excited to give more of mine on this show about why I'm staying where I am. And the last one that they hated our pick on, and it's more directed once again towards me again, is my love for Minnesota. I owned up to it to them on the phone as well. My love of the Vikings, I still love it. I had gotten info about Drake London potentially missing this game and him being really banged up. He was limited yesterday in practice, and I watched him practice. He looked good. He made a really good catch. Now, I don't know if that's just because it's practice and everything like that, but he moved well, in my opinion. I don't know if that shoulder is that big of an injury. When I got the info, I was like, oh, my God, he's on the road now, Penix, without his number one receiver, Drake London. This number is going to balloon up. It's gone the other way, as you see. It's dropped now from 4.5 to 4 to 3.5, and now Hard Rock is down to 3. So that's another game I'm sure we'll talk more about. But the ones they love, obviously, for our early sides. We do a Sunday night show, people. If you want to check it out, it's a really fun show. We break down our past games from the week, and we give out early lines. We nailed a couple, right? Or I really did in my early bets when I look back, where I gave out Colts +3. The pros love it. They're down to 1.5. Yeah. And I've talked to a lot of pros that love this one. So I'm sure we're going to break that game down even more. People are messaging me panicking, like, aren't you overvaluing this Colts team? And we talk all the time, it's all about the line, right? Like, if there was 3s out there, even our last show, there's still 2.5s out there. we just go where the value is, and that to me was the early line value. And another one, Titans, we love them. Talked to a bunch of pros, joined us on this bandwagon. Another ugly dog at home. That's a pretty big spread. Jets, another game I think we're going to break down. Got a bunch of calls about the love for that. And then, finally, Chad's love, Seahawks. Got a bunch of calls about that. So, yeah, I'm excited to break all these games down. Just a lot of love on the dogs this week. And I'm not shocked about the calls we got about the lines we hate. But like we say, the public does win. I have to pick and choose my spots where I try to ride with the public and the favorites in these spots.
I love it. They really did get into every game that we're going to talk about. And It's great. And what's interesting is I think other than the Chiefs-Eagles, I think you and I are pretty aligned on a couple of the games that they hate and we love. But let's get into it. First game, Cleveland at Baltimore. This had been on our radar. The line currently at Hard Rock Bet is 12. It opened at 12.5. Got bet down all the way down to 11.5 and has now come back up. It's so hard, right? This is when a one-game sample size wreaks total havoc. Like trying to dissect and translate the weaknesses of the Cincy defense the Cincy offense that made the Cleveland defense so dominant, and if there are any similarities with the Ravens offense, of which there are not. Meanwhile, how can Joe Flacco take advantage of a Ravens defense? When we were dissecting the Cincinnati game, we believed the narrative for the Browns in that game had to be slow the game down, rely on the defense, rely on Joe Flacco not making mistakes, try to run the ball. I think it's much harder to do that against this Ravens team. As big as this number is, I don't love it. And there's not even a ton of trends to back up playing this big of a dog in the division. Everything, I feel like we will find 5 games that we like more.
Yeah, and I definitely went back and watched that Cincy game. I heard from a lot of Bengals fans, and they're right. I did misspoke that I said that the Browns were able to run the ball really well against them. They weren't. They averaged 2 yards per carry, but what they did attack them was the running backs catching the ball out of the backfield. That's what I missed, because every time I felt like I looked at that game, all of a sudden it was the rookie Sampson, I believe his name is, rushing for 9 yards, but it was him receiving the ball out of the backfield. So that was a fair criticism. Chad, I don't know if he's going to get crow yet on Stort, because he did look really good in the game against the run. He played well. I'll give that kid credit. We had a lot of questions about him. So far, one game in, he looks like a first-round pick. So,
you're talking about Shamar Stewart, the rookie for the Bengals. Okay.
Yeah. You notoriously have hated the kid.
Yeah, I've been against this pick from the beginning. It felt like a classic Mike Mamula pick. Let's choose an athlete, even though he didn't produce in college. So agree with you. I will have to eat it.
Yeah, he might hit. He looks good. And when I break this one down, you brought it up. There's trends that actually say this is bad, taking a dog this big in division on the road early in the season. So, same thing as you. Went on the internet, tried to find as much as I could about this exact spot, and it's true. I think I'm just too attached to this Browns team, because I just see the ways they can keep this close, right? That secondary, they have issues right now, right? That is the weakness of this Ravens team, it's fair to say. And this Browns team, we saw they have weapons on the outside that can, go downfield and make plays. So I'm tempted, but you're right. There's other games I like more, so I'll stay away from it. And, at the end, if you want to talk about Ravens for Survivor, we can do that, because, this is a good spot for them, obviously. But, this number looked like it was heading towards 9.5, 10. Thought we were gonna get a Ravens number. It's gone the other way. It's up to 12 now. So if it gets up to 13, I'll be the guy on Sunday throwing one out on the Browns, but not forcing this one in the contest either.
Yeah, and the move actually tells me, when there's midweek moves like this, as much as there is sort of an expanded universe of sports bettors, when I see a move from 11.5 back to 12, that to me tells me there's wise guy money coming in on the Ravens, and so that makes me a little bit more hesitant. New York Giants at Dallas Cowboys. This number's down to 5. You mentioned the wise guys have been coming in on the Giants. I don't get it. It's moved down also because of Deron Bland and the injury. I'm with you. I feel like we got so burned last year playing numbers with really ineffective quarterbacks. And I mentioned the Panthers as a team that last year we got burned again and again and again. Similarities here abound. Like, they've got a really ineffective quarterback. They've got a really bad offensive line. I think those two things are dual Achilles heel that counteract any benefit from having Malik Neighbors against a depleted secondary for the Cowboys, or for that matter, a really good defensive line for the Giants. I'm just not buying. And I was more impressed with Dak Prescott than looking back than I even was after the game. And if not for a couple drops by CeeDee Lamb, they might win that game. So I'm getting more and more comfortable with the Cowboys here. I bet him at 5.5, and I'm bummed because if I had known about the Bland injury and, could have gotten more half point of value, but I don't mind the Cowboys here.
Yeah, it's moving. I mean, it's 5.5 or -5 right now at Hard Rock. It's getting down to 4.5. It looks like here in Jersey at Hard Rock. Like, the numbers leaning towards that way, and we just talked about that's professional money coming in pretty heavy, moving it. And we didn't even talk about week one. I tend to like to bet with the book, right? That's, to me, always the smart, safer option, and I feel more confident in my position if I am with the book. But I go against them, obviously, in a ton of spots. But last week, we didn't really talk about it. It was historical, right? It was probably one of the worst weeks ever to start the year for the betting public. They were 3-13 against the spread with teams that closed as favorites, 0-5 on the teams that were getting more than 60% of the bet, right? So it was just nightmare. 1-10 total on teams 60% or more against this, like how much money was getting bet on them in the tickets in week one. Just historical horrible week one for the betting public on these favorites. So it is a little scary. We're stepping into it on this one, right? We always joke about this with the roulette wheel, but it's true, where it's like, okay, black has just hit 10 times in a row. We're going red here, right? That's what this kind of spot is, because this is very public. Like, we both know that it's
very public.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of these bookmakers, and they're like, this is going to be one of the ones we need. But one of the ones they needed, just like last week, right? Last week, there was no big upset, which was shocking how bad the public did. Straight up, favorites went 13-3 straight up. So just like last year, and we're going to talk about that. I think it's the end of days for our Underdog Moneyline Run Robin. I can't keep losing money, Chad. It feels like 2 years now. I'm just getting killed because the favorites they're not covering, but they're winning. It's very bizarre right now. So,
yeah.
This exact spot is really a Dak Prescott spot. And I get the hesitation because there are injuries to this Cowboys defense. But when you dive into the Dak Prescott numbers, it's pretty amazing how good he's been in his career against the Giants' exact spot. So he's 13-2 straight up, 10-5 ATS against the Giants. His only 2 losses in his career against the Giants, Chad, was against Eli Manning. So he's won 13 straight against the Giants. So I got a ton of calls and messages about it's probably true. I'd have to go back and look. But me and Chad, this is our 7th season. 3 years we've lost Survivor on the Cowboys. They're our Black Widow. Every time we touch them, we die. Like, they get us every time. And this is why I'm not saying I'm forcing it in, but I'm like, this is the best spot, and we'll just get it out of the way. We'll be done with the Cowboys in week 2. But I've heard a lot of worried fans and listeners of the show being like, you guys always take the Cowboys in the spot and get burned. But those Prescott's numbers make me really confident. And, we've seen it time and time again. They could come out sluggish in the first half. Like, I heard some pros that talk about that trend, about these teams early in the year playing on like a Thursday and a Friday, then playing against a team on short rest. The team on short rest actually comes out more prepared, it looks like, and more in rhythm in the first half of those games. Okay, take Giants first half then, but full game, I'm very confident in this Cowboys team. I think it's a great number, getting great value, and it comes back to I just don't know how Russell Wilson and that offense moves and scores the ball. And Prescott, that was a loss. That team is really, really, really trying to get the taste out of their mouth. That Cowboys are just a great spot to back them here. Even if they're not as good as I predict them to be, I think to the general public, they're better than most people realize.
It just goes to show you what a massive difference, and we talked about this, effective, competent, better than competent quarterback play can matter. How much of a difference it makes, right? A diminished offensive line, but if Dak can move in the pocket and get outside the pocket and make some plays or keep the play alive, that makes a difference versus a Russell Wilson who's just become completely ineffective in a shell of what he used to be. I will pick a bone with one thing you said. I'm not a huge fan of the quarterback versus team stats because these teams change so much year after year after year. There's no reason to think he's going to be better against the Giants than he is against any other team. He has more chances to beat the Giants. The Cowboys have generally been better than the Giants since the Eli Manning days. I will say, though, Dak is profitable. And again, for me, the trends are the last thing I use to influence my decision-making and my bet. It's so much more about on-field and situational analysis. They're the supporting evidence. They're not the argument. Dak is profitable as a favorite in this spot, meaning in the division. I did the math on this yesterday when the line was at 6 or more, he's profitable. You lower it and it's even more profitable. So not hating this Cowboy spot. Not hating it at all.
I'm going to give another trend just because you just said you dislike trends. I'm going to give some more trends now. Even I got another trend for this game. No sacks taken. So Jordan Love fits this. The Jags fit this. The Cowboys fit this in week 1. Teams that don't give up a sack. They are 46, 32, and 1 against the rest. So 59% in week 2 since 2003. That's 15 and 4 since 2018 against the spread in this exact spot. Shout out to our guy, Evan Abrams, on useless trends that I just love.
Useless.
I love that trend.
That is a useless trend.
I love it, though.
That is whether or not a guy takes that
shows that teams that have good offensive lines that played well in week 1 technically carries over to week 2, that the offensive line plays well and doesn't give up sacks. So
that is the definition of correlation, not causation. I
love the trend.
Do not accept that trend.
We're literally on all 3 of those teams, though. That cracked me up as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh, I love that trend.
Detroit -6 against the Bears. Look, this has been motoring, right? It was at 4.5 on Sunday, settled in at 5.5 for a few days. It finally moved to 6 in the past, say, 12 hours. Tricky. All bias aside, because I'm not as much of a Bears fan as I am, which is as big as it can be. I'm not a Caleb fatalist. There were moments he looked good on Monday. There were moments the Bears defense looked great. There were moments that Ben Johnson looked like he could be an NFL coach. And there were moments where everything looked like it was the Bears playing like the Bears. But, can it get better in time to be competitive against a much more seasoned staff and head coach in Dan Campbell, an overall more talented roster that knows it got embarrassed and knows what needs to be done? This move feels more like opinion and move on the number to me than anything anyone can see in any of the matchups, because that Lions offensive line was truly trash. So they got a lot to fix in a very short period of time. Feels like it's just belief in the Lions' ability to fix things faster.
Yeah, once again, it's Sunday night show. Talked about Lions -4.5 for this exact reason, that this was what was probably going to happen if the Bears fell on their faces. Even though the Lions look terrible, the public will trust them much more than they're going to trust this Bears team and its rookie head coach, who's now on the road facing his former employee. This has got to be, I know he's trying to play it cool. This has got to be this everything game. And I get it, where you're coming from. I'm staying away from it. I got my little 4.5.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to either be on either side. There's 6.5s out there now on this Bears team. So, yeah, it's tempting. They're tempting me because, honestly, if you go back and watch last year, this Bears team shockingly played pretty tough against this Lions team that had all the pieces. So, pretty interesting matchup, and I do get why the professionals have come in and the public has joined them. That this is now, all the teasers are throwing this Lions team in right. No way Lions go 0-2, especially against the Bears on a short week on the road. And Caleb's just missing open throws. People are just so down on them. So I people can tell I want to be on the Bears. They'll get me there. Once again, another number, 6.5, 7 comes Sunday. I'll throw a little on and try to hit the middle as well. But that's just crazy, the movement of this line, that it's moved so much. And at what point does the hate go too far on this Bears team? But I get it. Rookie coach on the road in a revenge spot for him. Is this taking me in the right place, Chad? That's what we just don't know. Is he going to be able to separate the emotions from what's in front of him? And it's such a huge spot for him. And he knows start 0-2. Whew, it's going to be tough in Chicago for this Bears team.
All right, look, we were decidedly square in our love for the Cowboys and are hoping that the number continues to drop. Buffalo at New York Jets. New York Jets are 6.5 at Hard Rock. Every time this game touches 7, it gets back down to 6. On Tuesday, I leaned Bills a little bit, and you talked me out of it. Another 48 hours of research. I'm coming around to your side. Simon, this is our Rock in a Hard Place Hard Rock bet of the week. And the New York Jets, are we sharp or are we square?
We both feel like this is sharp, but our fear is it's slowly becoming a little square. So right now I'll say it's sharp, but it's I'm shocked the love of this Jets team. Like Chad just said, I thought we would be getting a 7.5, but I'm happy to take the 6.5, but I just can't believe the public's joining us. To me, this is what they love, right? Josh Allen, huge win Sunday night. Everyone's going to be loving this guy. MVP talk, right? He's the best in football. Jets blew a game. I just thought everyone would be all over this Bills team. So, yeah, the professional money, like Chad's saying, it is coming in heavy on this Jets team every time it touches 7. So we both love it. I'm going to take the 6.5, and it really is just about, the injuries to this Bills team and their secondary and this Jets defense. I get people having major questions about them, and now they're going from getting dominated by Aaron Rodgers to now they're playing, one of the best quarterbacks in football in Josh Allen. I get the hesitation, but it's really about the number, right? It feels like we're always going to have the option to get this back door here. So, yeah, this is a game we both love, and the 7 we were hoping for, I just don't think we're ever going to get there. I think 6.5. Most people listen to the show, that's the best number we're going to be able to get. I'm fine taking it.
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like I was going to say, please, please, please be patient and be aware, because it has popped to 7 enough that it could get back there. And this to me feels like you got to be on the lookout on Sunday morning when the public comes in for the Bills, because most people are not tracking this and thinking about it all throughout the week. They saw the Bills win on Sunday night in dramatic fashion. They saw the Jets lose like the Jets normally lose. They're not digging in the way we dig in. And they're going to bet on Sunday morning at all the big bet places you can bet. And that's when the move could happen to 7. I'd almost rather risk waiting for the 7 and getting that number and then have to bet a 6. If I have to bet a 6 on Sunday versus landing on the 6.5. I mean, I guess I could take the 6.5 and bet it again at 7, but I'd rather be patient and just try to get a 7.
I just don't know if we're going to get there because, like, I talked to 2 different bookmakers just now. They basically just said, yeah, it's, all the teasers, parlays, all the public. Yes, they're on the Bills, but it is heavy, heavy professional Jets money, and the money's not even close. How much? So they might end up needing the Bills. That's the fear for me here, Chad. Is like, this might be a spot where they might need the Bills because it's so much more professional money coming on the Jets. So I that's why I'm just hesitant that I get back to 7. But like you said, certain books, more public books, they could, because they'll need Jets money, right? They're not taking professional money. Yeah. All they're getting is Bills public money, especially at 6.5. So yeah, that's a fair argument. You can be patient and hope it gets back to the 7 at certain books.
The game itself, it just feels like an advantage schematically for the Jets regarding their run game against a Bills defense that their defensive backfield just was not very good. They were not great at
Even their front, those gaping holes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw clips. People playing these clips online. It's these massive holes for Derrick Henry. As great as Derrick Henry is, it would just be him and the safety one-on-one, which Derrick Henry, we saw, he'll win every time. You try to take an angle on a guy who weighs 280 and muscle, 6'5", 6'4". He'll lose every time. It's just Derrick Henry's a freak.
I also think there's an emotional element here. The Bills coming off that win against one of the two other teams that have been their rival, and the Jets feeling themselves, right? Like they came into that Steelers game super confident. They wanted to prove who they were, and then they lost. And I feel like this is another chance to show the world that the Jets are different. So the emotional swings, this means so much more to the Jets than it does to the Bills. And they get it at home. It feels like a really good spot for us.
Agree.
Seattle +3 at Pittsburgh. I feel like you're giving me credit for this. This felt to me like a sharp play all week, and the juice on this game had been at -115 since we did our Tuesday show. It's come down back to -110. But that initial juice move told me that the wise guys were coming in on the Seahawks. Clearly, I'm very sharp here, right?
Yeah, I love the Seahawks too. I feel like we're on the same page with what we like about them in this matchup, and the fact that their defense could be so much better than what we saw from that Jets team, and the way that this defense can, give Aaron Rodgers problem. We saw Aaron Rodgers. I think he got sacked 3 or 4 times in that game.
4 times.
So, there's a lot of things to like about the Seahawks defense, and then we talked offensively. They should have a much better time running against this Pittsburgh team that, just like the Bills, has tons of injuries to their secondary. And, the fear is Sam Darnold, I know it's crazy to say, can he really attack them and affect them the same way Justin Fields did? Of course not, right? The Justin Fields threat of the run is just light years different than Sam Darnold. But, the way this defense is on Pittsburgh, we obviously think they'll be better, but how much better is a question. And, I know Chad, again, hates these trends. This is just one I saw that would just make sense because it feels like a Tomlin trend. Like when I read it, I go, okay, no other team would have this type of trend, but Tomlin would. They basically allowed 32 points against the Jets, right? This Pittsburgh's defense. He's 28-11-1 against the spread. So 72% the Steelers. And this exact spot the week after, their defense gives up 32 points. Even more so scary, he's 10-1.
Yes.
Tomlin's 10-1 this exact spot the last 11. So it's a thing where I guess his defense, he just gives them hell week. Like even though they won 32 points, I'm assuming that's a Tomlin stat where it's like, it doesn't matter if they win or whatever. If they give up 32, it's as if they lost, especially if the defense, and he gets them right. But I'm still very confident in the Seahawks team and how they match up and about the number. But that one jumped out to me. I was like, oh my God, that is such a Tomlin stat. Anytime his defense gets lit up, they get right the next week. I mean, again, 72% in this exact spots. Usually a trend that scares me and Chad off, but I think we're too deep. We both just love the Seahawks and the number. So 2.5, 3, I love them both.
I think the Steelers are just being overvalued here. I think that the market looks at the Steelers and knows that the public is going to come in on them because they ultimately won in a high-scoring game. And they saw Aaron Rodgers have 4 touchdown
Aaron Rodgers.
passes.
To me, that's the difference. Aaron Rodgers, that was incredible.
But I don't think they're unpacking. Aaron Rodgers wasn't perfect in that game. No throws, no attempts more than 20 yards. Got sacked. Got sacked 4 times.
All underneath stuff, and it just killed the Jets. It was crazy.
Yeah, and so to me, the Steelers kind of got lucky in that game. The Jets were a little bit unlucky, and this is a spot where maybe the Seahawks, who were a little bit unlucky in their game against the Niners, can take advantage and equalize some of that karma, so to speak. And the value is in the Seahawks at +3. So right now, you and I are kind of aligned on 3 games. Dallas, Jets, and Seattle. Guess what we got coming up?
Hopefully is it Miami? That's what I'm waiting for.
I didn't even put Miami on the list.
Oh, we got it. I got some great stats about that game.
We'll talk about it.
All right,
But
we got to talk Miami a little.
I've generally been looking for ways to buy out of that bet the whole freaking
that's
week.
fine. I'll tell you why it's a good idea to buy out of it.
All right. LA at Tennessee, the Rams at the Tennessee Titans. Last week, this was our brass balls. You nailed it. Worked out perfectly. Guess what, Simon? Tennessee Titans plus 5.5 for the second week in a row. This team is our brass balls bet of the week. Tell everyone why this is a very sharp bet, Simon.
There's a bunch of reasons. It's honestly, I've heard from pros, Chad, on the Rams, shockingly. And I thought this would just be total pros versus Joes, right? Every pro would be on the Titans, everyone and their grandma. Like, I feel like everyone I talked to with a sports book the other day was just basically, oh yeah, got the Rams in my teaser, got them with the Bills. Like, that was the stack, right? Because it's the perfect number to bet it down. But yeah, I think we're on the same page where it's like, okay, if we do a favorite money line round robin, I'd put the Rams in there, right? McVay does win in this spot. But what's so sharp about it to me, like, is just the number. It's a sharp number, the 5.5. We were hoping Hard Rock would get the 6. They've obviously taken some smart money because there are some 6s out there, but 5.5 to me, it's going to stay down. I just don't see it going back up, and I see it coming down lower. And it's what's happened to the Giants line, I thought was going to happen with this Tennessee line. I thought people would go watch the Cam Ward tape against that Denver defense that is really good and see it was his teammates and the coaching that let him down. Like, he made big plays in either penalties, drops, or bad coaching, ruined it. And it's like, yeah, he's got weird arm angles. He throws it a little too fast in certain spots. I agree with some of that criticism. But overall, if you just look at his stats, he looked like he was horrible. And Tennessee was super lucky to cover that number when it's like they were crazy unlucky. And the fear for me here is the coaching. Because when I've gone back and watched the game, it's sick. I just like to punish myself. I watched it twice now, that Denver-Tennessee game, and I just can't get over Callahan and the coaching mishaps and some of the stuff he does. And, just last year, I think back to him with Will Levis, and he'd roll his eyes and be like, this kid's so stupid. The stuff this kid does, how stupid is he? It's like, dude, you're a fucking idiot too. Like, some of the stuff he does just – man, he failed Ward in that game, and we got very lucky in our survivor pool that we got out of there with a win. And this number probably should be 3.5. We're getting a bump because of how bad Cam Ward and this team look to the general public, but the pros, they've kept it under 6. We'll take the 5.5, and we talk all the time. This Rams team, they're actually kind of great in this spot, right? Traveling from west to east, they're actually not that terrible. But we've seen, right? Stafford is different when he's playing outdoors in these type of games. And I'm fired up to see what the Tennessee crowd is like, because right now the trends are not good about these favorites on the road. Right? I think last week favorites on the road were 5-1 straight up. So home field just isn't what it used to be. But Tennessee here with the rookie quarterback, I'm hoping the fans can bring it and give Stafford that offense some problems on the offense, because they have to, right? This is Stafford. If it's not loud and they're not messing with his snap count, he's going to have his way with this Tennessee defense. This is not Bo Nix. This is Stafford with Puka and Adams, and that's just, we saw last game. That's a great offense. They just, Houston's a really good defense. So yeah, love this number, Chad. I think, what you talked about, I'm glad we're in sync in another game that's, I could have seen you being on the Rams. I could see why people want to take the Rams in the spot, but I think Tennessee at this number, it's crazy. 2-15 against the spread last year. We think they're going to start 2-0 against the spread this season.
Well, look, the Rams also have some injuries in the interior of their offensive line. And the one thing we saw the Titans doing well last week, Jeffrey Simmons was amazing. And he was just crushing.
4 pressures. He was incredible.
Yeah, crushing the pocket.
Yeah.
And so if he's able to do that against the Rams, against Matthew Stafford, who's becoming more and more immobile, and who was just not that great against the Texans defense that was kind of in his grill the whole game from different angles, that bodes well. It's funny how NFL sort of analysis circles this week there becomes a theme that is pretty predominant if you pay a lot of attention to this beyond like the big games, right? Beyond the Eagles, Chiefs, and beyond any sort of brand name stuff. The themes that evolved this week, which you nailed on, I think, Sunday or Tuesday. Cam Ward was much, much better than people expected. His pocket presence was great. He was adjusting his protections. Like, he just did a much better job. He was failed by his coaches. That is the big deal. That's the risk here that we're playing. But look, when you're playing a bad team as an underdog, you're taking a risk. It's betting. It's not sure thinging. So I'm with you. It's our brass balls better than we. Denver at Indianapolis. You mentioned it off the top, Wiseguy Hotline. This line has moved from 3 to plus 1.5. To me, it's out at this number. It's fascinating to watch the line movement on this, though, Simon. Like, it really indicates to me a little bit of a battle of opinions that have been happening. At 12:30 on Tuesday, it was 2.5. 30 minutes later, it moved to 2. An hour later, it moved back to 2.5. The next day, Wednesday, moved back down to 2 at 4:30. 2 minutes later, it went back to 2.5, literally 4:32. An hour later, it went down to 2. 3 minutes after that, it went to 2.5. And then 20 minutes later, it went to 2 again. Finally, overnight, it's like somebody just said, screw this. And it's now down to 1.5 across the board. I don't have a lean. I don't think it's going to be one of the games that we want to play most strongly as one of our 5 favorites. You liked it at 2. You've been on this at 3. Obviously, the sharp side has been the Colts. As it stands, do you have an opinion?
Chad, you non-believer. You don't believe in Indiana Jones. Yeah, it's the sharp side, Colts, right? We're betting on a number on a team that we see what their identity is going to be. And that's what I love about them. Where Bo Nix, we talked about it. You saw the adjustment made by Tennessee, and I believe we're going to see it by Indianapolis, that he does have weaknesses you can attack and frustrate him, and there's things you can exploit. But I get your hesitation here, right? It's
just a number. We missed the best of the number here.
That's fair. Like if it was 2.5, obviously we'd be much more confident. And the 3, like I said on Sunday night, that was 3 at Hard Rock. There was 3.5s all over, and that's my whole point. Was like, this is gonna have to come down. There's no way the professionals come in on the Broncos at -3. Chad just told you they've been hitting this Broncos side at the -1.5. They've been hitting it at the 2. Now they've seen that, it's the public side, this Broncos side. So the real professional money, the heavy money, has put this now at 1.5. And I agree with you. We don't have to force it in there. I do like this Colts side, and like I am bet into it. But like Chad said, I'm bet at a better number than this. So I'm not going to stamp my feet here and be like, you have to take this 1.5. But it's like, man, I just have major questions about that Broncos team. And I think they got very lucky last week that they did face a rookie quarterback on that defensive side, because he had windows. I don't know how great that run defense is going to be either. Like, Pollard, that fumble, just a total killer of a drive for that Tennessee team. I just can't see Taylor putting them that bad of a spot, right? I feel like that last fumble I really remember of his was the one that cost me and Chad an insane amount of money. Him dropping it right before he strolled in for a touchdown against, I believe, this same exact Broncos team. So I think the last time they played, they were about to go up like, what was it, Chad, 21 or 20-3? He drops that ball. I don't think they score another points, this Colts team. So that's, to me, it's something that has to be on their mind as well. And if it's 2.5 in your contest, I'm going to be tempted. I'll see if it is in ours to make Chad play it on Sunday. You'll have to check it out, tune in and see. But as we sit here right now, 1.5, if you want to bet it, I don't hate the number. I'm still going to take it most likely. I'm going to try to be patient on this one as well and hope we get back to that key number of 2, just because there are some pros on that Denver side that could, at your book, bump this back up to 2.
We got to talk about the Chiefs and the Eagles, because you mentioned it off the top. There is a very clear divide here, and this line has moved a full 3 points since we first discussed it on Sunday night. You leaned Eagles when they were 1.5-point dogs. Everyone is piling on this ship. How far is too far to now think that the Chiefs are plus 1.5 point dogs, and we still want to bet the Eagles. Simon, this is the show Sharp or Square. It feels to me like the sharp side is the Chiefs, and yet you want to be Quentin Tarantino square on the Eagles.
I know. I picked my spots. I'm thinking of going square here, Chad. I'm pretty square because I
break it down for me, because like to me this is about the number and about the flip, and I know the Eagles right now probably have more talent on their roster, but can we not do we have such sort of recency bias that we're forgetting it's Patrick Mahomes, and it's still Chris Jones, and it's still Andy Reid, and it's still Steve Spagnuolo, and it's still the Chiefs at home, and it's not like this team isn't still a Super Bowl contender.
No, but we've seen that we got burned by that exact thinking in the Super Bowl. And it's my whole perspective of this is this number is what Chad just mentioned. It's the public perception of the Chiefs team of years gone. And you're the guy that just bangs the table about every year teams are different. Aren't you? Aren't you that guy? So
don't try to throw my words back in my face.
I have to. Because when you say these things, I'm like, store that away for later because he will trip up.
Don't point out my failings to me.
Yeah, I can't get over this number. And my only thought process of it is, well, Eagles extended rest, maybe come out slow. We still have questions about their offense and, some of their defensive pieces they missed. But it's like the biggest thing we're talking over is Jalen Carter. That's why I wasn't banging the table, because I was in my mind thinking this is a suspended Jalen Carter line. That's why the Eagles to me opened at plus 1.5 as a dog, right? That felt to me like a Jalen Carter line.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I couldn't think what they just lost their number one receiver, and they're already down their number one receiver. So now they're down their number one, number two. He's throwing to Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster here, and a 35, 36-year-old Travis Kelce. It's like that's what was so amazing in that Chargers game, where it's like Mahomes to me is just, you're crazy if you don't think this guy's one of the best quarterbacks or the best quarterback in football. Like the plays he makes with the talent around him, he's so incredible. And that would be the magic of Mahomes and why you're taking him in this spot. You're betting on past success on these numbers, and it's pretty easy to look it up. He's only been a dog one other time, this exact spot. So regular season at home as an underdog, 2.5 point dog to the Buffalo Bills. He lost 24-20. So in my mind, a lot of stuff we're talking about, it's been him on the road and discredited. That's why he was a dog. And he shows up on the road of those exact spots. To get him as a dog at home, this other team must be really, really good. Like to the books to make that number, it is. So that's when if the books did make it 3.5, which is closer to what I think it should be, I think they would be showing their hand. Where it's like, if you can't tell me the Eagles from that Super Bowl haven't either flatlined or improved, or this Chiefs team as is feels like a step down, especially a team that we've all talked about it. They went to 3 straight Super Bowls, this team, mainly the core. That's a lot of miles on these guys. And they've always treated these early seasons not as a preseason, right? They do win and cover early in the season. They do win games. But we've seen they don't really turn it on till December and January. That's just how the Chiefs have been these last couple of years. So, yeah, I get it. They're going to be revenge spot, Super Bowl, all that stuff. I just think it's like the big guy putting his hand on the little kid's forehead. They can't hit this Eagles team, right? How he built this team to beat the Chiefs. Like that was his one goal in mind. He didn't beat it. He didn't build this team for anyone in the NFC. The Eagles have never looked at it as if anyone in the NFC is the problem. So I just look at this matchup. You're getting a fired up Carter in this spot defensively. Eagles got an insane amount of pressure on Dak, right? They were finger lengths away from getting strip sacks and getting the ball out of his hands without Carter. This is arguably a worse offensive line than what the Dallas Cowboys had this week. Like we've seen even that Chargers defense had major pressure on Mahomes. So yeah, it's all about the number here for me. I know it's the public side, but I think it's the book. Give me too much respect. Professional bettors give me too much respect for Mahomes. And I'm definitely looking forward to eating these words come Sunday, because I know just about every pro I've talked to, they are lining up to take this Chiefs side. I just think they're undervaluing this Eagles team and exactly what this spot is, where it's like, it's just not, they don't have the pieces. If it's Worthy and Rice with Mahomes here and it's -1, honestly, on the Chiefs, I would be very tempted to take that. It's like, okay, I can see them keeping up and putting pressure on the Eagles' number 2 corner. Who's attacking the Eagles' biggest weakness, the number 2 corner on this Chiefs team? I mean, do you have a name, Chad? I can't. There's nothing that scares me on the Chiefs side. So it's just, it's very public. It's very chalky. I'm going to maybe force this one in on us, and I'll own it because I know Chad's hesitant about it, but I just love the way this lines up for this Eagles team.
I was just going to say, I can't deny you your passion. You feel so strongly about it. We're, of course, going to put this in. You're, of course, going to own it. It's, of course, going to be one of our 5 favorite picks. And we're going to ride or die with this Eagles team. In fact, I'm making a change right now. I'm making an executive change. This is our rock in the hard place, Hard Rock Bet of the Week, because we will be so against what the conventional wisdom is in terms of betting on the Chiefs as dogs. We will be so against the wise guys on this game. I am transitioning. This is going to be our rock in a hard place, Hard Rock Bet of the Week. We're taking the Eagles -1.5. It's going to be one of our favorite 5. Boom, lock it, done.
Hard Rock loves it. Just more promo.
Yeah, exactly. All right. By the way, speaking of Hard Rock, let's hear a message from our friends over there. We are crazy excited to announce our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. I don't know if you know this. I've got a very long history of staying at Hard Rock hotels and casinos, including one football season, practically living there, literally. They've always been, to me, the best combination of vibe and fun. Now you can use the top-rated Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook to place your bets all NFL season and beyond. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and is also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states launching all the time. You can also play on Hard Rock Bet's online casino if you are in New Jersey. Simon, I know you want to check that out. From here on out, you'll start to see us use Hard Rock Bet lines when we're talking about the games. And everyone knows, Simon and I, we have loved getting out and doing live shows. Now we can actually do them from Hard Rock property. Simon, do we see a sharp or square live show from AC just down the road from you in our future? As we gear up for NFL season, sign up for Hard Rock Bet. Make a $5 bet. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up, and make your first deposit today. All right, Simon. On Tuesday, your Simon Says, don't forget, my Chad Loves Love was Seattle +3. Your Simon Says at the time was Minnesota -4.5. It has come down, and you intimated that you thought it was going to be Drake London not playing, and you thought the line was going to go up. It actually did move up to 5.5 in some spots, after there was some feeling that Drake London was going to play. But it's been a steady drift downward, down to 3.5 Wednesday afternoon. Now it's at 3 after the news came out that not just Drake London, but Darnell Mooney practiced. They're both expected to play when they go to play at Minnesota. A lot of pros liking Atlanta also, I think, because they look at that Tampa Bay game and think, oh, when I break this down, Atlanta should have won that game. Like, a touchdown pass was missed because Darnell Mooney wasn't on the field. His replacement couldn't make the play. So I think that there's also a huge difference in emotional swings. I don't like Atlanta here now because I think all the value is gone. But I'm not leaning towards Minnesota on this one. It doesn't feel like a Final Five to me.
It's too bad. I was hoping you were gonna love Atlanta, but this is just. I'm dug in. I'll admit it right away. I'm dug in, and I do love this Vikings side. But it's brutal. Where it's like I was between that game and the Saints. It feels like for my early Simon Says, and it was all based on injury. It's like I thought I was more leaning toward Purdy was just going to force it in play, and where Drake London was going to miss because the information I got that his shoulder, he basically apparently he couldn't put his arm above his head. Which when I heard that, huge deal. First clip I see yesterday is him catching the ball, reaching both his arms way above his head, snagging the ball out of there. And it's just like, oh my God, I got God. So that's the tough part of this business. It's a lot of hearsay. Obviously, wish I had just done the Saints, right? That 4.5 now looking like a genius bet because it's down to 3 in that Saints game. Where this matchup, it's gone against me. And most pros I've talked to, they like this Atlanta team. I think they view what Chad said. Penix, when you really dive into the numbers, he's actually pretty good. And he played pretty well even under pressure in that game. Like even moved off the spot, played pretty well. My pushback, that Tampa D, it isn't that good. They're banged up as well. Like Vita Vea, I know he played in the game. He did some things well, right, against the run and stuff, but they weren't getting tons of pressure up the middle, which we've seen in college. That was what Penix's weakness was, right, was getting the push up the middle. Like I said, this is a Flores defense. Like if you go through Penix's career, his early career, he has put up numbers and played really well. I will give them credit for that. But you look at the teams he's faced, this is going to be the toughest defensive test for him by far. And, as much stuff I want to give crap to Caleb Williams about, he had no run game. The Bears had no run game. That's what Flores, he had one game plan. That was to take away the Bears run game and make Caleb beat them. Caleb beat them with his legs. That was something he was not prepared for, right? Like they did take away his passes downfield and different things like that, but the game changer of that game was by far Caleb's legs. Can Penix do that against this Vikings defense? I don't know. Like I know he had that rushing touchdown against Tampa, but I just think Caleb's a little bit more athletic. And, this is at a point now where I love it. Like it's good value to me, especially at -3, this Vikings team. And I'm going to learn pretty quick if I'm overvaluing J.J. McCarthy and giving him too much credit in my model, giving him too many points. But, I like this one. And I was hoping you were going to like Atlanta because I'm almost positive they're going to be, 5.5, 4.5 in our contest. And I was like, all right, perfect. Chad will take this game. We lose, and I'm just going to hit him over the head with a coconut and be like, I told you I had this number at 6. I moved it down, though, because now that Drake London is healthy, I do have it at 4.5. So still, I have a good value if you want to bet the Vikings right now. And I like the spot. Once again, pros, I think the public, I'm almost positive they're all going to line up on this Atlanta side and take this road dog. And I just being a home favorite on Sunday night, and you're with the book. To me, it's been a good spot to be in long term for me. So that's really the basis of it. Like there's trends too that point to people liking Atlanta, and I love trends, but here I can't get over this number. I just can't believe the value on this number, this Vikings team. That the question was the quarterback. If the quarterback can put sustainable drives together, I know it's only one quarter, but I think they found something. He found some confidence there that's going to carry them through the season. And we talk all the time. I mean, Chad, we talked before the season. I didn't see it with JJ. I did have other professional bettors telling me, hey, this kid, when I watched their tape, when I watched their practice film, everything about him, it's not a dumb bet 80-1 for him to be MVP. And I was just like, oh my, I can't see it. Like I just can't see it because, again, he didn't play all last year. And it's a kid that just did not throw the ball in college. Like there had to have been a reason Harbaugh was not letting him throw it. And at the end of the day, we might learn it's just – that's what Michigan's offense was. They were just a run-first team, protect the ball. That was his job, and that's how they won. And we saw in that first game against the Bears, Chad, I mean, you saw it. He can sling it. Like, that kid can throw the ball and fit into some windows. So, yeah, I can't get over the fact that this Atlanta team feels incredibly overrated and overvalued right now. And somehow after that win, this Vikings team is somehow becoming undervalued. And it's just playing the number -3. I got to take it at this value.
Yeah, I'd probably lean the Vikings at -3. I don't think it'll be one of our 5 favorite bets. I'm glad you can't shame me about the Falcons. When it comes to J.J. McCarthy, I'm reminded of the fact that the old joke, only one person could keep Michael Jordan under 20 points a game. It was Dean Smith. Do you get it? You're not laughing. Jim Harbaugh is the Dean Smith. J.J. McCarthy
there you go.
is the guy being held back. Is it too old? Is the joke too old?
I think it's too old. There might be a guy out there that laughs at you. You never know. I just was not that guy.
You never know. It just wasn't you. All right. You do get to shame me about Miami. I have not listened. I have not talked about Miami. I have not said we need to put Miami in. I have been off Miami. I could not cash out of the bet. I apologize. But if you feel the need to shame me, go ahead and shame me about the Miami Dolphins. But you're not shaming me because I agree with everything you're saying. I'm preemptively not letting you shame me.
Well, I just want to talk if we might have to try to get the Patriots in. Are we missing out on opportunities here?
That I think,
Miami
yes.
team. And my hesitation is always going to be, I'm not shy about it. I'm a Drake May hater. Like I get the hype around Drake May, but you'd have these people on media talking about how much smarter they are than all of us and how great Drake May is and how we just don't see what they see. And it's tiresome. It's like, no one doubted this guy having a big arm and him being able to run the ball. Like, he's athletic, but it's like, is he consistent? And the thing is, we just blame the weapons, right? You blame the coaching, you blame the offensive line. There's always going to be things to blame. And we've just seen the NFL, it takes a little bit, right? That's why with Drake May, I don't want to be too hard on him because I know it takes a little bit, but it's like, to still think he's better than Jaden Daniels, what are we doing here? Like, that's such an asinine thing to try to project out heading into this season. And, looking at this one, I really wanted to dive into the trends here because I was just thinking, what can I even find on Miami to like Miami? And even
I can give you exactly. Like, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, don't back Miami here. And
no, but do you want the trend? The one thing that sort of flagged for me immediately?
Yeah, hit me with the one you found you loved.
It's all about teams coming off a blowout. They're off a 20-plus point loss. They're at home. Like, this is when you bet that team that looked incredibly bad. And so that's what made me immediately bet them. I didn't think about, offensive line issues. I didn't think about secondary issues. This, to me, was purely a number trend play. That was it. Like, I regret it. I haven't bought out of it. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll go my way. And, like everything else in the world, when everything is anti, everybody is wrong. But I don't love it enough to try to convince you the way you're trying to convince me on the Eagles or maybe the Vikings that it's going to be one of our 5 favorite plays. I made the bet. I'm sticking with it because I can't get any value cashing out. But I made the bet because they were blown out. And historically, that says immediately bet that team, that there's going to be too much value on them. And essentially, the line has stayed exactly where it was. It stayed where it was when I got the best of the number. It opened at 1.5, got up to 2.5. It's now back down to 1.5. It hasn't moved. So nothing I can do.
I thought you were going to give me a trend. I don't even know what that was, but I'll give you a trend.
The trend is you back the team. I can't remember the exact number. The trend is you back the team that is off a blowout loss.
Teams in week 1 that lose by 21 points or more, and then they're a favorite, obviously, in week 2. They're 5-12-2 against the spread since 2005. And they're 0-3 against the spread since 2022 in this exact spot.
Well, it's not the trend I have.
Yeah. So, again, that's a fade Miami in the exact spot. So, Miami Dolphins didn't score a single point in that first half against, a Colts defense that we can agree they're not that good. Like, that was really on to it. Like, Tua just couldn't stop turning the ball over. But it's like, okay, it was one bad game. Maybe the next game they'll be better. So, again, no points in that first half. That same team that's listed as a favorite the next week, they're 5-10 against the spread in this exact spot. And, it's just bad for Miami. And when you see that their right tackle, who's bad, and their right guard, who's bad, are out for this game, and their backups are now in, oh, my God. It's, Millen Williams, this is why you got him from the Eagles if you're the Patriots. You have a guy that was giving problems to Geno Smith last week and that Raiders offensive line. How does he not dominate this Miami offensive line? And once again, we've seen Tua, he doesn't have time. And if you cover his first read, like Chad said, he's bad and he struggles. And Tyreek, we've talked, football is this weird sport where if your whole mental aspect isn't right, you're just not right. And it feels like Tua is not, Tyreek has not been right for 2 years now, and everyone's seen that stat. He's only had one game where he's had a catch for over 30 yards, and that was last year against the Jaguars in Week 1. So Tyreek has just been a disaster. This Miami team's been a disaster, and if it wasn't Drake May, I really would be just hammering this line, because it's like, if you have a comparable quarterback here that doesn't turn the ball over and can move the ball semi down the field, this should be a very easy cover for this Patriots team in Vrabel, because they're just as desperate as Miami. They don't want to be 0-2 either.
Yeah.
And, Vrabel, him bringing his whole personality to this team, this is the exact game where his personality for this team should show up, right? That game against the Raiders, that we talked about, the Pete Carroll, Geno Smith combo, we wanted to see what it was going to be like. And we saw that looked like a veteran team with a veteran coach and a veteran quarterback. And Vrabel looked like the veteran coach with the inexperienced quarterback. Are we going to get burned here again? Because this is the Miami spot. That is also another fear, where it's like, this is usually where Tua plays well. But I told Chad, I even on Tuesday's show, if this Miami team gets down 7 or 10 and the boos start raining in from this Miami fans, it just all feels like it goes so sour so quick, because this team just feels like they have no confidence in their head coach. I mean, the sound bites from them this week have just been atrocious. And that's, again, I don't want to be sucked in, because that's such an immediate thing to hear the sound bites and be like, easy bet, take the Patriots here. But, I'm looking at the splits on a couple of different sites, and it's pretty even. Like, there's pretty decent amount of people betting Miami in this spot. They're not. If this was me and Chad taking the Patriots, and it was 90% of the tickets and 90% of the money were on the Patriots, and this number was still Dolphins -1, me and you would both be like, red flags. Either you take Dolphins or you just stay away. It's not really like that. It's honestly pretty even. There's some pros on the Dolphins side, and it really is, I think, what Chad said, right? It's a team that got embarrassed. They are better on paper than this Patriots team, but it's like, man, on paper I get it, but in real life, I don't know if they're that different. I don't really like, and that's what this line reflects. Like, it's the right line to me, and the better team to me is the dog right now. So I'll work on you even on Sunday. I'll see if I get you on the Patriots team, but it's just a line I've been betting. The trends point to it. I like that matchup. And all of a sudden I heard about the right guard and the right tackle. Because I was right. This got up to 2, and I got Patriots too. As soon as that news came out, the right side of their whole line being out, it just dropped right back down to 1. So I just don't think it's moved enough, and it's going to be a line I'll be terrified if it does flip, though, because we hate betting flip lines. But how does this not flip the Patriots? Who is betting heavy money on this Miami side? It's such a bad team right now with just everything negative.
All right, look, we'll have this conversation on Sunday. It's a spirited debate. I'm moving aside any kind of sort of feelings I might have because I've already bet it. I just want to make the best 5 picks we can make. Sunday, it will have to be a conversation. Are we going to say that we like it better than Dallas?
Well, you want to do one more game? I got a stat on Bengals and Joe Burrow.
Okay, great. Because the Bengals are actually a team. I'm waiting for that number to get from 3.5 to 3. So if it gets to 3, I'm betting the Bengals.
Okay.
So give it to me.
So I gave that stupid
and this stat better make me feel better.
Yeah, that stupid stack stat I gave earlier about basically 59%. If you don't remember, it was Green Bay, it was the Jaguars, it's the Cowboys.
About that stupid stat about the 0 sacks in the previous game?
If you don't give up sacks in Week 1, that pretty much shows that you have a pretty good offensive line, especially in Week 2.
Or you're playing a team with a terrible defensive line.
It's fair. Look what we got here, though. The Bengals defense, which isn't as terrible as I said, but again, that might have been a Cleveland thing where Cleveland's running backs are atrocious. Where we think the Jaguars run blocking scheme will be better. This is really, though, a Joe Burrow stat. Me and Chad talked about it, right? Joe Burrow, Week 1, we know the deal. You fade him there. The public overvalues him for some reason. Doesn't matter even that we saw. It doesn't matter if he plays in preseason. That offense just isn't in sync. I cannot believe he had 7 yards in that second half. Browns defense is good. We know that. They're not that good. Let's be honest here. Like that was a total anomaly. I get if you're like Chad and you're waiting for it to get to 3 because you expect a bounce back spot against an overvalued Jaguars team that, this number was 5.5. Like Chad said, it's 3.5, 3 now. Joe Burrow, Week 2. He's just a guy that struggles, and we've seen it early in the career, early in the season. His first 3 games, Burrow in his career as a favorite, first 3 games of the year, 1-7-1 against the spread in his career as a favorite. And again, that includes last week where he was a favorite, didn't cover. When he's listed a favorite within the first 2 games, Chad, the Bengals are 0-6 against the spread.
This doesn't make me feel better. I mean, I haven't bet it yet.
I'm just saying, it's all there that for some reason these first 2 weeks, Joe doesn't do well. The Bengals doing well. He doesn't do well as a favor. The rest of the season, Joe, after week 3 and later, he's 43-22-1 against the spread, Chad. So that's what I mean. Like, you look for these trends because it's like, what am I not seeing with this game that, to me, I'm with Chad. Like, why is this game not a little higher? Like this Jags team, how do you not think they're a little overvalued? But now when I really dive into it, it's like, 3.5, that's the right number for this game. So I am on the Jaguars side. People were asking about this game, and I did just want to give respect. Cincinnati's run defense isn't as terrible as they looked last year, but that we'll see how they do against his run blocking scheme of the zone blocks that, that's what the Jaguars are going to be running now. And I love zone block because it leaves up to the running back. When the running back cuts and chooses the hole, you saw that can be a really big deal for them. And, they just got rid of Tank Bigsby. They're giving Tootin more looks now. That could be a really good backfield with him and ETN. So, I just wanted to bring that game up and just give out that Joe Burrow stat. People just said we're the biggest Bengals haters. We love betting the Bengals. I told you, I just gave you the stat. We're going to be betting the Bengals for the rest of the year. This first 3 weeks, it's just different. Like Taylor, the head coach, whatever it is, doesn't have the guys prepared. They struggle. Joe struggled against the spread. The public isn't weird to that. The guy is literally 0-6 on this exact spot, like as a favorite. So it's something to be wary of Joe Burrow early season as a favorite against the spread.
All right, we're going to have a healthy debate on Sunday because I feel like there are some leaders in the clubhouse, but there are some teams sort of knocking on the clubhouse door trying to get in.
Oh yeah.
And those are games where you and I are much less aligned. So tune in Sunday morning, Sharp or Square on YouTube. Listen to it on your podcast feeds. Simon's biggest bet. What do we got?
Yeah, I mean, it is tough because, like, obviously last week, I mean, guys, we hear it. Like, it is tough in my spot where, I bet the Ravens for 3 months at +1.5. And I know 90% of the people listening to the show got Ravens at -1. Brutal. Going forward, it shouldn't really be like that, right? If you catch this show when we post it, hopefully you're getting the same number as me. And this week, honestly, the Colts 3 +2.5, I did hit that pretty heavy for the first 2 days. Like earlier on here, that's really where I put a lot of my money. Jets +7, me and Chad talked about it. I love Jets if you can get the 7. Get the 7. I feel so much more confident about it at the 7. And, I talked about it. This Eagles team, I can't stop betting it. I love it. I'm already dreading Sunday where if I'm wrong about this one, just because not only am I going to be eating this from a lot of professional bettors and maybe even Chad, but it's like it's hard when I hit these numbers so heavy and your vision of the game, how it's going to play out, goes totally sideways. And it's like that's the fear. Same thing. We're betting, like I'm going to bet against Mahomes here, and I'm betting against Josh Allen. It's not fun. Both are terrifying, right? That experience we had on Sunday night, that was horrible. Like having Josh Allen come back because we all knew what was happening, right? As soon as Harbaugh punted on that 4th and 2, 4th and 3, me and Chad knew that was it. That was a losing bet. So like that Eagles one to me, it's really going to decide my weekend. And that's a game we're going to be talking more about on Sunday. We'll see where that line goes. I'm excited to see. Does it flip? Eagles back to a dog, or does this get up to 2, Chad? It's gonna be interesting watching this one by the time we get to Sunday.
Moneyline, underdog, round robin, parlay. I've got Tennessee.
It's dead. I told you it's dead.
Well, we still got to do it. We got to give the people what they want.
I don't want to give it out though because I'd rather do favorites. Let's win. Like I told you, I bet this stuff. I'm losing money here, Chad. Like legit money.
All right, let's give a favorite and an underdog.
All right.
Tennessee, Jets, Pats, Falcons, Colts for the underdog.
No,
Tennessee.
Get out of here with the Falcons. No way I'm getting that in there.
Who do you want to put in?
That's tough. Let's go Vegas.
Okay. All right.
Gino in the dome, baby.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that game much, but that's just because the line is moved to 3.
Line moved to 3.
I'm not as passionate about that one. Do you want to do a favorites parlay at this point?
Yeah, let's get super chalky with it. Start out with our guys, Dallas Cardinals. We like them. I think they're a team that could easily win
Yeah.
against that Panthers team that looks like they have real problems. I already talked about Rams. McVay wins those games. He might not cover, but he wins those games. A nice little hedge against our own bet, which I always love taking those spots. It's. I know it's painful, Chad, but don't we have to do the Lions?
I was just going to say.
Are they Lions going 0-2?
Lions, to me, are automatically in there.
And the last one, again, I want to hear your view on it. Well, I guess we have to go Bills. Never mind. We'll go Bills.
Okay.
I was going to get real weird with it and just throw in the 49ers, but let's just avoid the 49ers game. I'd much rather go the Bills.
Survivor. I'm a survivor. I put in Arizona, Ravens, and Lions as the 3 teams I would use for Survivor.
Okay. And the key is we do need to start looking ahead now. So week 1, I just wanted to survive. I've been busted out of so many of these contests in week 1 because there's always that game, and that did not happen. So it's not a guarantee it's going to happen. The NFL has changed in that sense, but that I can't help but look at all these teams and think which is the one? Who's the one? So I think we're on the same boat, right? The top 3 this week is Ravens, it's Dallas, it's Cardinals. So quick look at the Cardinals schedule, right? They get the Panthers here, and I'm trying to find when's the next time we could even potentially play this team, Chad. It's kind of tough. There isn't much other games. They get Tennessee at home in week 5. That could be our chance to take the Cardinals. So let's put them aside then, right? Because we already have a look ahead now. Tennessee at home for the Cardinals. That's potentially the next time we could take them this exact spot. So let's move them out. Let's go to Dallas. Now, I don't know if you have the Dallas schedule up. They have the Giants, who could be the worst team at football, at home after starting 0-1. I already told you, Dak Prescott has won 13 straight games against this Giants team now. Chad says, who cares? That's revisionist history. If I go back, though, those Giants teams, to me, were better than this one currently formed. And especially, say what you want about Daniel Jones, he dominated the Commanders for all these years. There's weird things with your divisional opponents. Tom Brady, we've all seen the records against his divisional teams. Jared Goff, there's certain teams he owns in this division. Every team has certain teams. There's no one else I could find for the Dallas, Chad. I'm looking at their schedule. They're at the Panthers. That's a spot I guess we could take them. But other than that, I just could not find another easy game. I mean, they're at the Giants the last week of the season. There's just no other spots to me with Dallas. And I told people, we've been burned by them. I know. But we either take Dallas here or we have to take them next week when they go to Chicago. And Chicago, they're 0-2. That's going to be a super desperate team potentially. So that's just why it jumped out to me about taking them. And the last one, again, we need to run through it. Ravens. I think we're on the same page of why we like the Ravens here. It's them going 0-2. We talked about the Raiders' exact spot last year. They broke up they busted a bunch. I think we got busted out on the Ravens. Looking at their schedule, I mean, I'm bringing it up right now. I can't find another easy spot really. They're at Cleveland late. They get the Bears at home after their bye week. That could be a Ravens spot. So we could save them for week 8, this Ravens team, but that's the toughest part with trying to do these survivor pools. It's we just want to survive to the next week, but we also need to plan ahead a little bit. So I get so many people reaching out with the Cowboys. I get it. No one wants to see that line drop to 4.5. That is scary, but I can't see Dak losing that game. And it's just, when am I going to play the Cowboys again? They could be a bad team and Dak could get banged up. And then we wasted not taking them in week 2. So people can tell I'm fighting it, but I think we got to go Cowboys, Chad. I don't know where you're at with this one, but I think the Cowboys.
I lean Ravens. I don't think there's going to be another spot to play them. As I was doing the research this morning, it felt like, to me, it came down to Ravens and Cardinals, to be honest.
Wow.
So if you feel that strongly about Dallas, I just don't know where we're getting either of these teams. Dallas, I don't know that they would be a team that, who do I want more at the end of the year, right? And I don't want anything to do with the Cardinals at any time, but this is sort of the best time to play them.
Yeah,
and if you're thinking
we have 18 weeks. We have to pick 18 teams.
Right.
So that's why
if you're thinking about
we had
game
to take some
theory,
gross teams to save some good teams.
I would do Cardinals or Ravens.
Cardinals or Ravens? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'll put a poll out, see what the fans want to do, and try to fade them.
Yeah, well, exactly. We can update on Sunday
Okay.
where we're going to land because we're divided on this. Listen, Sharp versus Square, you won last week handily, so you get to go first this week.
God, I'll just do it because I love this show. I'll go Patriots plus.
Wow.
I know.
You're such a dick.
I want to go Eagles, but I can't put all my chips on one side. So I'll go crazy here and take Vrabel and just, oh my God, that Miami team.
All right, I'm taking the Jets.
Okay.
This has been Sharper Square, part of the Volume Podcast Network. We will be back on Sharper Square YouTube on Sunday morning, 11 a.m. or earlier. You're going to eavesdrop on an intimate conversation between me and Simon in which we will panic, make human decisions, regret the rest of the day. You'll also get that on your podcast platforms. We will be back live Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, to recap all that misery. Watch or listen on YouTube at Sharper Square. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also download us from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Subscribe, but most importantly, rate, review, because feedback is the gift. And it helps make the show easier to find for everyone else. Don't forget, we are collecting the comments. Pretty soon, we're going to start reading some of them, giving away some sweet, sweet swag. Until next time, love you.